Metacognition, again, is something that, and I specifically picked that because it has everything to do with understanding and awareness of how you think. When you can literally take the time to know why you think a certain way or why you do a certain thing, now you have the chance to change it yourself. The responsibility is on you and no more excuses.
Who is Grayson Marshall Jr.? Depending on who you ask, some will say he's a Clemson University Hall of Fame ACC legend as their all-time assist leader. Another will say he's a successful entrepreneur, franchise owner, and six-figure earning direct sales success story. While others will tell you he's a kingdom-minded DC native who serves as an inspirational leader and gifted keynote speaker. Though all of these answers are true, here's who he really is. Grayson Marshall Jr. is the coach of coaches, sought after by C-suite level executives, professional athletes, educators, servicemen and women, and youth to help shift both their personal and professional paradigms. Because he possesses a unique talent for getting you to believe in you, Grayson is what you call a metacognition expert, equipping you with the tools and techniques to help change your outlook on life and identify your passion. He also authored the book, Do Positive, Just Because, the keys to the life you always imagined. So who is Grayson Marshall Jr.?
All right, what's going on, everybody? This your man, Chris Allen, coming to you live on another episode of On the Grind. Man, I'm excited. You was probably one of my first interviews back in the day when we first started, right? When we first started On the Grind. But I got a special guest, true brother, a friend, mentor, business partner. Man, we going on. Welcome to the show, Mr. Grayson Marshall Jr.
Appreciate you, man. What's up, y'all?
Man, it's good. It's like we're taking a full circle, coming back around. And I reached out to you. I told you what I wanted to do. First thing you said, well, brother, just do it. I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted my website. I wanted my video. I wanted everything to be perfect. And he was like, no.
And you can't. You have to, when you look at where you want to go. The Bible says if you wait on perfect conditions, you never do anything. I think what happens is that we tend to misunderstand how we live. People who don't make decisions are still doubting that it will happen. That's just where it is. When you truly know what you're doing and you're positive about it, there's nothing that stops you. So if you drove to Starbucks right now and you wanted to buy coffee for the guy behind you,
right,
you wouldn't ask anybody.
No.
You wouldn't consult anybody. You wouldn't ask anybody's opinion. Why? Because it felt good about doing it and you knew that you could do that. I think what happens with us is that we know what we want to do, but we're still unsure. And that unsure, that mindset of unsure, that doubt is what keeps us from moving forward. People should be able to live just like nature does. Mm-hmm. We're part of nature, but look at the things in nature and how it works. Grass grows with no effort.
That's good.
Don't take no effort for the grass to grow. It doesn't take any effort for a tree to grow. Mm-hmm. Anything in nature operates at its fullest capacity. Here's why. It's all they know how to do. They don't have any other option. We have too many choices.
Yeah.
So they just know how to be a bird, just know how to be a bird. And what happens is he only mates with a bird. Mm-hmm. We have opportunities to mate with whatever we choose to, do business whatever we choose to, so we never stay fully focused. We are human beings are the only people that operate less than their capacity.
That's good.
We're the only animals that do less than what's required. Mm-hmm. Nobody else does. No other animal does that. So when we're doing business and we're wanting to move into things, we want everything to be right because we're thinking about what isn't or what could be. Nature doesn't do that. It just flows. And if we took that attitude, we adopted that attitude, mm-hmm. which is the attitude that we ultimately need to have, that then our lives will flow differently. The connections would be seamless. It would be effortless. It would be like grass growing. But we tend to get in the way of that because of doubt in James. The book of James talks about it in James 1:5. It says if any man has doubt, he should not expect anything from God. So when we are doing the things, you're doing all the busy work, you're doing all the grunt work, you're doing all the grind work. But if the other capacity isn't there, this is all for naught. That's why people give up. That's why people stop, because they're still doubting, and that's what has to change. That's the main thing that people have to get a true understanding of, is that why am I stopping? It's because we have doubt. It's because we fully aren't operating in faith. And that's just what it comes down to.
That's good. Well, we're going to jump into, we're going to come back around. We're going to take a little circle. So we're going to talk about the mindset, because we have this, you have a term, you not coined the phrase, it's a bad word, but you go by the metacognition.
Right.
So we're going to talk about that. Okay. But let's talk about your entrepreneurship, man, your entrepreneurial spirit that you have, because we've talked over the years, you've done some couple things and was hugely successful. When did you fall in love with entrepreneurship?
When I was a little kid, watching soap operas.
Okay.
That's when I fell in love with it. I love the look of an entrepreneur. They wore suits every day. I was a soap opera dude, so I watched Young and the Restless.
Young and the Restless.
I watched all my children.
Victor.
Victor. He's still cool. He's still good.
He's still there. Absolutely.
They still look the same.
Yes.
But I looked at guys, and here's what I looked at. It wasn't because there weren't many African Americans on the shows. But what I looked at was the capacity of authority that they lived their lives.
Okay.
The ease and freedom that they did, the work ethic, but the results as well.
Good.
The challenge I had was I had nobody around me doing that. Everybody around me was workers. And at that time, African Americans coming up with degrees, that was the next step. So my parents were products of going to university, getting out, and getting what was considered good middle class jobs. Well, they're only going to teach you what they know.
That's good.
And I sat back and I was like, no, I want to do that. And so I'd sit around and watch. I knew I wasn't an entertainer, so sports was my way out. But I never looked at sports as how I was going to do it. I wanted to do it outside sports.
Okay.
Because my dad always taught me the downside sports. Every time he would show me a success story, he would show me 35 non-success stories. And he would say, look, there's more of them than these guys, so you need to be able to do them both no matter what. So going through school, my whole purpose was to make sure that I was balanced enough educationally, articulately, to be able to go out and deal with the world. And that's because I knew that was going to come eventually. And loving that side of it was what I wanted. So it was, and I had to, over the years, begin to really make distinctions about it, because I think people want to say they have an entrepreneurial spirit, when in essence they really have a small business mindset.
That's good.
Entrepreneurial is multiple businesses, multiple streams of income. Ecclesiastes 11:2 talks about having 7, maybe 8 streams of income. That's an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. An entrepreneur is someone that has revenue coming in from multiple places, that if one of them shuts down, it's still there. Small business owners have been lumped into the entrepreneur mind.
Gotcha.
And the reality of it is, if a small business owner doesn't work, he goes out of business.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have kind of overlapped the two. Yeah, we've overlapped the two. And I think people have believed they're entrepreneurs when they're small business owners. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I really had to do as I was moving forward was understanding the difference, and truly getting to where there's not many entrepreneurs in the world. A lot of people own their own businesses, but there's not a lot of entrepreneurs because of the factor that an entrepreneur has to have multiple streams of income. So whether it's real estate, or whether it's owning this business, or owning a small stake here, a small stake there, that's what an entrepreneur does. They get into the big B section of the Kiyosaki cash flow club. The B and the I, they're on that side. They're the big business and they're investing. And I think that was always something that intrigued me. What you find in that arena, though, is the commonality with all those successful people is they have faith.
It's good.
And it's not necessarily faith in the risen Savior, because half of them I'm around, they ain't saved at all. But that's not what the Bible says. The Bible says without faith, it's impossible to please God. It doesn't say without faith in God, it says without faith. Faith is a principle. It is a spiritual principle that works. And all these folks have this, and what they have, Chris, that's unique, is that successful people have no plan B. No, they don't have a plan B.
That's good.
It's all plan A. So we've been
taught.
Yeah.
It's good.
But we usually are looking for plan B.
Mm-hmm.
What am I gonna do if it doesn't work?
Right.
Successful people, they ain't no plan B.
We're doing this.
They're not committed till you jump off the cliff. And that's the mindset they have. So when you look at the stories, you look at the stories like Pursuit of Happiness with Chris Gardner, and you look at Tyler Perry's story. Look at when you really look at these stories, Jim Carrey living in their cars. This is what they were doing. They were waiting tables while they were trying to do things. There was just no plan B. They didn't, and there was no distinct time frame. I talk to folks all the time about what's going to really shift you in moving forward towards your destiny. There's two things that you can do. Number one, there's no emotional connection to any outcome, and number two is no time frame for things to happen. Every one of these folks with no plan B has no concept of time. They just go and do it. Where all of us that have had to learn that or struggle with it have a concept issue with time. It's a value conflict.
Say it again. What's the two?
No emotional connection to any outcome.
No emotional connection.
And number two is no time frame for things to happen. Those two things create anxiety. They create doubt. No emotional connection is totally in antithesis to Romans 8:28. The Bible says all things work together for the good for them who love God and those that are called according to His purpose. So if you got no emotional connection, that means whatever I'm doing is working for my. And what we've done is we have literally, and here's what the time frame does. The time frame suggests that God needs to do it when you say. And that's never going to happen. So when you take time off the table, you literally allow the process to happen, and you just take part in the process. When you give it time frames, you have an anticipation, you have an expectation. And expectation and happiness kill it. So you remove all those things off the table, and then you have to consciously stay in a faith-based place. I have to totally believe, and again, without doubt. And that's where we have to get to. We unfortunately have doubt. Time frame creates doubt. Because when you get closer to the end, you're wondering what's still going to happen. You got to remember that shifts the way that you think. You cannot do that. You have to stay committed to, focused on the faith. Because faith and fear both require the same thing of us. And that is to believe in something that hasn't happened yet.
Right. And they can't operate in the same space.
No.
Cannot.
So they both have the same. They both have the same premise. They both are asking you to believe in something that hasn't happened yet.
Gotcha.
So do you want to believe it's not going to happen? Or do you believe it's
going
to happen? That's up to you. And those two things are significantly what change everybody in the world. So when you look at the successful people, 3% of the people in the world control all the money. The only thing they know is how to operate in faith better than everybody else does. That's all they know. And that's all they ever live by. Most of the time they can't even explain it.
That's good.
It's just what they know. So they've made a choice, faith or fear. I'm just going to choose faith every time.
Dude, we talked about the when you fell in love with entrepreneurship. Do you remember your first entrepreneur business? What was it?
Newspaper delivery.
Really? Mine too.
I used to deliver newspapers. I used to get the newspapers on Sunday. I had to put the inserts in.
Okay.
I had to put the inserts in.
Saturday was Saturday always the biggest day?
Sunday was the biggest day.
Okay,
Sunday was the biggest day.
Right.
So Monday was kind of large. The Tuesday and Wednesday were real small.
Small.
And then Thursday they had inserts again. Friday and inserts there.
Right.
Sunday was the big one. But I did DC and Snow, and I'm pushing that cart around. And that was my first thing. We used to have to go collect every Friday.
Gotcha.
At low receipt book. You know, you get a check at $375, $218.
Do you remember how old were you at that time? Do you remember?
I had to be. 10,
I bet your mine was lower.
10, 11.
I was 9. I was 9.
And it may have been, but I'm thinking.
I had that double bag.
3rd or 4th grade. No, I had a
You didn't have that?
I had a car. I had the big shopping cart. I don't even know how I got it.
Great.
The big grocery store shopping cart. And then I had the little silver one that they used to carry. The grandma used to carry.
Yes.
They would fit the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday paper would fit right down in there. And I would just carry that and walk around the neighborhood and knock it out. That was my first one.
That was your first one. Do you? Give me. Let's talk. We always hear the success stories from us. Give me some failures, man. You think back and give me that.
Oh, that's easy. I was homeless at 28. This ain't hard.
Homeless at 28.
I was homeless at 28. That's not hard.
How that work out? What happened?
When I stopped playing ball, I moved down to Florida.
Clemson. Okay.
I stopped playing ball, moved down to Florida, and I got a job, and immediately realized that I'm not cut out for jobs. So
just not cut out for it.
I don't mind. And again, I don't have a problem with working.
Sure.
I work at AOL. I've worked places. It's not that I don't have the wherewithal to do it. It's just that if I have my druthers, I want to do stuff on my own.
Okay.
So I got into a business with a lady, and she got using the satellites, the big white C-band satellites.
Yes.
Right? So we had a nice little business. We used to go to Berman Brothers to get the poles. We'd go by and pick the things up, put them on a truck, go out and install them. And life was wonderful for about 6 months. Until DirecTV came out.
The competition came in.
It was, I think so. It was about a $7,000 loss right there.
Great.
So but I've done everything. I sold a little perfume. I sold Kirby back. I tried. It was the introduction into the world of sales.
Gotcha.
And learning that industry was part of why I do what I do now. And it was a way for me to really take some hard knocks. So I think people don't ever want to know exactly. They want to hear about it, but they don't want to know about it. Because you're really going through something. So to be homeless at 28, what was a challenging? I wasn't pushing the car, but I didn't have anything to call my home.
Gotcha.
I was living in my ex-girlfriend's mama's trailer for $10 a week.
Yeah.
And but never quit. I just never gave up. And I wish I would have known the intangibles that I do know now about thought. All of what I did was what this show says: grind. And what folks need to really understand is 99% of what you're going to manifest in life is the way you think. 1% is the thought. So it's and once I began to understand that, it was a bigger challenge because I was in a relationship, I was in a marriage that didn't have that balance. So I've got me thinking one way, and then almost the entire house in opposition to that thing.
Gotcha.
So here I am positive and everybody else is anything but. So it was very hard to be totally persuaded in that place when you walked into an environment every day. Now, it was part of the process. It's made me who I am. And I grow through it, and I try to do my best to share candidly, transparent.
I got you.
Very transparent. This is just what I've been through, and it's not to put down anybody else because I own everything. And that's the biggest part of it. I don't look at anybody's involvement in my life. I can look at it, I analyze it, but at the end of the day, it's still on me. I think part of what we need to do, or if you want to be successful, you have to do is you got to own everything. No matter what it is, you got to own it. Whether you initiated or did something, if you understand this, that whatever you thought about, you brought about. So everything in your life, you actually attracted to you.
That's good. You and I was talking about a week ago, and you were sharing Job. Talked about Job, and you said something in that talk. You remember what you talked about?
Yeah, Job chapter 3. See, everybody looks at Job, and the Bible says Job was a righteous man and feared God and shunned evil. So when you look at Job on the outside, you think, man, Job got it all together.
Sure.
But if you look at Job chapter 3, verse 8, Job said, the thing that I feared most has come upon me. So here he was on the outside looking like, and everybody think Job was that dude. But deep down, Job was saying, I'm afraid to lose it all.
That's good.
And guess what happened? Job lost it all. He said, the thing that I feared most come upon me. So even in the midst of his apparent success, he was still struggling mentally with what he was going through. But what he did was, when you attracted and it happened, the one thing that he never did was charge God foolishly. He owned it. He never blamed God. And I think that's where we have to get to. When you're not doing the things you need to do, and you're blessed and you may lose, never charge God foolishly. And that's what he never did. That's why he had double for trouble when it was done. He never charged. He said, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. He didn't mean it that way, but that's kind of what he said. So when you look at us today, we want to blame everybody else. No matter what, we want to blame the economy, we want to blame politics, you want to blame all that stuff. Yet you don't want to look at your Bible, and your Bible says pray for them and have a rule over you.
That's good.
It says pray for your leaders. But we want to talk about them. So if you want to talk about your leaders, the Bible says pray for them. Why are you surprised when crap keeps happening in your life?
Right.
You a leader, and now you want somebody to treat you the way you're not treating somebody else.
Good.
Makes no sense. So we have to really become. That's why the ownership, the personal accountability, is such an important thing, because you need to be able to do that. Most people are unwilling to give what they want to accept.
That's good.
They're unwilling to give it.
Right. You may have already answered it, but I'm gonna ask it again. If you could go back to that 28-year-old, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give him?
I hope you're sitting here right now. On the ground.
Talk about it.
But no, I think about it, and I try, and my effort is to do this with my kids. give them the principles of life that live. So at 28, when I was homeless, I thought about what I didn't want, and I got more of that.
You didn't want.
So I didn't know. I didn't understand the language and thought connection. I didn't understand all that. So the big thing that I would tell myself is, I got to speak a certain way. I got to think a certain way.
Good.
So I would have been in it. I probably wouldn't have attracted the relationship I did. Had my self-esteem been high, because all of those things wore me down. Made me question me, because when I was a little kid, I dealt with low self-esteem.
Okay.
So all my life, that was always saying I had to prove myself. That was the competitive work ethic that I had. So I had to prove people wrong. It still didn't change the way I thought, because I still thought that I was less than. Had nothing to do with me being African American. Had everything to do with what I had to deal with in the African American world, because I got picked on by African Americans because I was dark skinned. So I dealt with racism in my own race.
In your own culture, yeah.
So there was a battle that was going on dynamic there, and who do you tell about that? You really can't even talk to anybody about that. So I wear that. So here's what happens. My whole life, I feel less than. So what happens is that when you think you're less than, you begin to attract situations to remind you that you're less than. So when I was growing up playing ball, I didn't get picked for all-star teams. Even though I was one of the top players in DC. I was all man, I was everything, but I was never picked. So I would hear them playing stuff, and I hear about where they went that weekend. It made me feel less than. Dudes I knew weren't good as me, but I was never in the clique.
Gotcha.
So all that played a factor into my life. So as I went up, I mean, it played into my relationships, because every girl that I dated as a young guy was light skinned, very light skinned.
Dark skinned brothers going with the light skinned guy.
And then I had racially married. Because again, all those things, it's amazing how the thoughts lead you to actions and what you attract. So that's why, again, transparency for me is important, so you can tell people really where you are. But I think those things were factors in decision making. Now, am I glad that I did it? Yeah, now I am. So if I'd have looked at 52 and God said at 27 or 22, at 22, here's what you're gonna be at 52. But you gotta go through all this. I'd have been like,
you would stop them? Don't worry about it.
What's behind doing?
Don't worry about it.
What's behind doing number 2? I don't want to see all that.
That's a good job.
I don't want to see divorce. I don't want to see my trials with my kids. I don't want to see business. I don't want to see that. But going through all those things has made me better.
That's good.
It's made me a different person. And again, I had to learn to love unconditionally. And when you own who you are, when you own everything in your life, that gives you the capacity to love unconditionally, because owning it makes you vulnerable. And vulnerability is the only way you can have unconditional love.
That's good. What do you think it is, man, if you had to pick out a particular trait that you have that has helped you get to your levels of success, what would you say that trait is?
Being teachable.
Being teachable.
Being teachable. Being open to new ideas. Being open to new ways of thinking. Really taking the scripture, study to show thyself approved unto God. A workman need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. People read that scripture and they automatically think it means study the Bible. That's not what it says. It says study. That means everything. So I had to be open to the principles of life. I had to be open to what successful people were doing. Even if it was in opposition to what I've been taught, I had to be open to it. So I think that I remember reading this one time. It says the most expensive thing you own is a closed mind, because it'll cost you millions. And if you don't understand that, who are you listening to? All those things become something significant. And I started listening to people that were doing things that I wasn't doing. How were they doing it? But what I brought to the table was a conviction. So I'm not going to do that if it doesn't line up with what I truly believe. So when I started meeting people that were successful, I would get around them and they would tell me stuff and teach me stuff. And I said, that makes sense, they're doing it. Doesn't line up with my work. And when I took all that stuff, not only did it line up, that's where it came from.
That's good.
So when you look at the books that have shaped business, Think and Grow Rich, Run Upon the Hill, The Magic of Thinking Big, all these books, the Mandino, the greatest salesman in the world. When we look at, The Richest Man in Babylon, when we look at all these books, they're all based on a philosophy of motivation and activity. So all of that applies. What I've learned over time is that the understanding of all those principles what separated the Carnegies, what separated Henry Ford, what separates Tesla, what separates Mark Cuban, what separates, Tyler Perry. It's what separates Oprah, what separates all these folks is a different understanding of that. Oprah had Eckhart Tolle on her show.
Yep.
And Oprah, Oprah's a professed Christian, and Eckhart Tolle, but you have to be willing to open that, because here's the thing, the Bible says God is no respecter of person. He'll share the information. The problem is we don't like the source half the time, so we dismiss the source. I learn from everybody, and I take it and put it into practice for me. I ask people, how do you do it? And successful people tell you, because true successful people don't operate in scarcity.
They believe there's plenty of room.
But they know you're not coming, so they're not worried about it getting too crowded.
That's good.
They know that. They'll tell you because they know you won't do it. They don't have a problem with telling you the secrets because they know you will not apply it.
That's good.
They know it.
That's good.
And that's why you run the seminar after seminar. They're telling you all the stuff, but they know you're going to walk in the door and not going to apply it. They know it.
Gotcha. That's good. So that's your success trait. Let's go to the other side. What's that thing that you say, man, I need to work on that? What's that?
I still battle with self-esteem. Still battle with that every day. And I think
this is some good stuff, y'all. I don't know if y'all catching these nuggets. This is good stuff right here.
I battle with it because I'm never satisfied. And it came from this low self-esteem place. When you have relationships that don't work out, when you look at yourself and you own that stuff, it sits with you, even though you'll move forward, and even though it's a learning thing. I think the personal value that somebody has to themselves. I did a message this morning. It says, how do you really feel about money? And I did that because there's so many people out here that are living well below their capacity. But it's because of how they see money. They don't value money. So they don't value themselves. They can't put a price on them. Because if you've accepted $40,000 a year, is that your value? I guarantee somebody tell you no, it's not. But yes, it is. That's what you accepted. So that's your value. So I think that we live in a world where we got bad information about money. If you think about money's mentioned more time than any other subject in the Bible. Over 2,300 something times money's mentioned, or something related to money. Mentioned more than love, sin, Jesus, God. Money is. There's a premium on understanding how to do it or how to deal with it. But we've been taught that, I've even heard people say this, Chris, it's called money don't mean all that. Ain't all about the money. Then why would God give it to you if that's the way you feel about it? Makes no sense.
He's already closed that door.
So you're upset that the money's not flowing through your life. Well, you think you have enough. So why are you mad at somebody else who has a different belief system about it?
Don't make no sense.
There's nothing wrong with abundance. Abundance is in abundance. It's where we put levels and limits and lack that we get frustrated. He's Jehovah Jireh. He's God our provider. He's Jehovah. He's El Shaddai, the all-breasted one. He's the one that's all-sufficient. We don't need for anything. But he never told you can only have this. There's nothing about it that you can only have that.
That's good.
But you have been taught, or you have a limiting belief that says, I can only get this. I'm only worth this. And I had to learn it because I would go out and speak, and it was hard for me to know what to charge. Because I knew what I was worth, but I wasn't sure they would pay it.
They would pay what you.
Exactly. Until I got around folks. And here's what I had to get to. They're not paying you because you don't want to ask for it. So I had to change. I really had to grow through that. I knew what I could deliver. And then I would go, Chris, and I would watch people, and I know what they got paid.
Right.
And I would say, you paid them for that? Are you serious? You paid him $20,000 to say that?
Right.
Oh my! I could have done that in my sleep with a pin.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
But they had a different belief, and they said, "I'm worth this." So that's what it is. So those are things that I really had to learn over the years. Now it was even more challenging when you're with someone who doesn't elevate you either. So you're actually in a situation where you feel bad about it, and they're reinforcing it. Again, it was what I attracted. I literally believed that about myself. So it was reinforced by folks around me, situations, opportunities, in ministry, doing wonderful things, but they would never let me put you up there.
That's good.
because I didn't believe that. And I would watch other people go and do it. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So again, all these are the things that I would teach myself at 28 about having the soundness of thought. You know, the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. He talks about singleness of purpose. And that's one of the things that I would make sure that I stress with people: singleness of purpose, just like the ecosystem, the atmosphere, or how we live. Singleness of purpose. That's what grass has. That's what a tree has. That's what a bird has. Singleness of purpose. That's why they can operate to the max of what they do.
They just that one thing, keep going. Right.
That's all they know.
That's it.
I don't have another option. A bird can't be a lion, no matter if he wants to or not. He just can't, and he's not going to make with the lion.
That's good.
They don't have those. So again, for us to really maximize it truly has to come to singleness of purpose.
You hit on it a couple of times, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump right on in there. You've talked about books, and you referenced certain books in your life. What's that one book for you that you can say, you know, that's the book that changed my life?
Outwitting the Devil was one.
Okay.
And I just drew a blank on the other one.
We can come back to it.
We'll come back to it.
Why Outwitting the Devil?
Because it showed me that what Napoleon Hill was talking about in 1919 is still the same issue today. The challenges that they were facing then to become successful are the same one facing today.
Gotcha.
Singleness of purpose was scatterbrained all over the place. Where the enemy attacked. He talks about how church and how school are advocates for what the devil's agenda is. And that's all we tell people about. Go get another degree. Go do this. Go do that. He said, look, bring them to church. I will screw y'all up when y'all come in. The way that it is, the way it's institutionalized right now. And he looks forward to that. I'm going to keep you in fear. I'm going to put you right in church and you stay in fear the whole time. Ain't no faith in church. This is different. And you look today, and that's not saying there's none anywhere, so please don't go there.
And don't hit me up on
you know what I'm saying? It's like, come on. Oh, that is like my church is different. We're not we're talking about the overall mindset of religion. So let's take church out of it.
Gotcha.
Religion is limited.
Gotcha.
Religion is fear-based. And anybody will argue with that, I'll argue with you all day long.
Okay.
But my God, it's Alexander Lloyd is the author of the book. Dang it. It changed my life.
Changed your life.
And then I just drew a blank on it. It is because he denounces the principle of motivation.
Okay. But the author is
Alexander Lloyd.
Alexander Lloyd.
And as soon as I look at my phone, I can tell you
I can't tell you.
Oh my goodness. Crap. I'm sorry, guys. I'm losing.
It's all good. Let's do this. What's your favorite movie?
Hitch.
Now I see you posted. I didn't want to ask you that. I was going to ask.
Hitch.
Why Hitch? Because you post that every 2 days. You watch it.
I do. Because what I love about Hitch is that it's really understanding people. Okay. He can take anybody and he believes he can walk them into love.
Gotcha.
So it's really so what he
Have you used any of the techniques? Have you used any of the techniques that he talks about?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Did it work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all that matters.
Because when you look at it, it's him. I love it because he was very confident in what he did, but when it came down to him being loving, he was vulnerable, and it was a whole lot like me. It was like, I'm good at what I do, but when it comes down to me, you got to deal with that. I think a lot of people do that. People do what they do well. When it really comes down to them having to deal with it, it's like, I don't know how to do it. Yeah. And then when it's their turn to really face it, my man had to close the door. I said, can you close the door? So he's not talking behind the door. That's where he was comfortable.
Right.
So again, it was him lead. It was a leader teaching other people and still having his own shortcomings and vulnerability. So I think it's always an understanding, a place to go back to and say, even leaders struggle. Even people that are doing this stuff for other people, they're there. and his heart to serve. I mean, there's so many to me underlying messages in Hitch. But to me, it's probably one of the best romantic comedies of all time. And I love Will Smith as an actor, and I love Eva Mendes just as a hottie. So
she's bad.
So both of those they make it. But I think it was excellent writing. Kevin Green was awesome.
He did his thing.
You know, so it was it was just good. But I watched it come on, and you'll see me post it.
He posts it every 2 days. he watches it.
You know, and the other side of it too is this: is that I know that feeling good is an important part of life. So whatever you can do that makes you laugh, that makes you feel good, it's only going to change the frequency you put out.
That's good.
So the more I watch Hitch or Friday, you know, when that comes on, I watch that too. It makes me feel good. It makes me laugh. So when you're laughing, when you're feeling good, you're literally saying, "I want more of feeling good in my life. Bring me some more feel good stuff." And so that's a part of it. Again, it's not a manipulation. It's just understanding the law. It's understanding how it works. And it's a better way to live, Chris. I just feel good about life. So I want to do things that feel good, no matter what it is. Golf is the same way to me. You know, I love golf. So whenever I am feeling like, you know, I'm focused. You know, if stuff doesn't seem to be working out, even though I know it will, at that point in time, I'm not going to sit there and lament.
What's not working?
Okay. Because the minute I go hit golf balls, I'm in a whole different world.
You think about that stuff?
I know.
What's your favorite song?
My favorite song, I'm a romantic.
Okay.
So, Chills by Charlie Wilson.
That's Chill.
Yeah.
Chills. Okay.
It's about the girl of his life, and saying, "The girl, you bring me chills."
Oh, okay.
So I love that one. I think if I'm talking about genres, I think for me, my song that really touches my heart is "I Can Only Imagine" by Mercy Me. That when that song comes on, I'm just
powerful.
And then to see the movie and understand the story.
Great movie.
And he wrote that thing in one night.
That's awesome.
And it was a great movie. That song, and he wasn't even supposed to sing it. He had literally given a song to Amy Grant.
Yeah.
And Amy Grant goes to sing and says, "No, I
can't do no justice.
Come up with it." And to me, that was just for her to be who she was.
Yeah.
And say, because if she'd have sung it, I guarantee it would still have been a hit anyway.
Yeah.
But that song goes on to be the most popular Christian song ever recorded.
It's good.
I can only imagine. And when you hear the words, I get chills thinking about it right now. It's just, so those two probably, you know, stand out. I love Kim.
Yeah. Did you go to a concert? He was here in Jacksonville. We got something happening in Jacksonville.
I missed him, but look here, I will find him where he
did his thing.
And I love comedy too, so I love Angela Johnson. Right. And she's coming to town in October. Kevin James is coming the day before my birthday.
Big shout out to Adrian A-Train, Jacksonville local.
So I love comedy. So I think those are the things that I love. I'm a sports fanatic. But I tell you this though, I've gotten away from my obsession with sports because I've gotten obsessed with my life.
Gotcha.
Sports, I think, replaced space in my life. But now I think my life is full of, there's so many more things that I'm doing, business-wise, speaking-wise, writing-wise. I think all those things are even greater for me. So sports doesn't have the same place. I don't watch ESPN. I'll miss it for 2-3 days, and I would never do that. I'm just in a different space, and I feel good about it. I don't feel like I'm missing anything.
That's good. Let's talk about the businesses. What you got going on? What's going on?
Right now, I've got this company, Your Second Half.
Okay.
The Answer After Sports. That really works with athletes that transition out of sports, no matter what area. High school kids who aren't going to play college, what's that transition look like? What's a college athlete who's not going to play pro ball look like? What is the pro athlete that has played pro ball? And now, what does that look like? So I deal with their mental space, what they need to do, how to completely shift the sports breeding, the sports foundation into this new second half of life. That's what I love that. I've got a company called Unequal, it's a sports safety company. And it's actually my subsidiary is MM3, 3M Ventures. And that's with my buddy Jeff Mannon and Mark Birnbaum. And we literally are a marketing company. So we have the global marketing right to the #1 sports safety company in the world. Wow. And that's going to be a huge thing for us. We're about to enter into partnership agreement with Airstream Ventures to do some marketing for their major concerts and sporting events. So I have that. I have my speaking company. I have a new thing that'll be coming out called Revive Your Life Energy Stations.
Okay.
So I'll take cryotherapy. I'll take PEMF, pulse electromagnetic fields, and really create energy stations for better circulation, for more frequency-based healing. So we'll do that. So it'll be just like my massage places.
Gotcha.
You'll be able to book an appointment, come in. You can lay down on this magnetic pulse pad for 15, 30 minutes, and before you get up and feel like $1 million. So guys, got my hands in a couple different things, and there's some real estate things that we're getting into now with M3 Ventures, and so it's fun. It's fun.
Metacognition.
Mm-hmm.
What? What is a metacognition?
Metacognition, by definition, means the understanding and awareness of how you think.
Okay.
So what I want to continue to do is really challenge people with the way that they think.
Wow.
How they think, what they think, why you think the way you think, how to change the way you think, why thought is so important in your existence in life, why it's more important than the action you take. So I want to deal with that from an expert standpoint. The expertise, I believe, is in understanding the biblical side of it and the application side of it. Most of us don't know how to apply anything because we've been taught to read, recite, repeat, and respond.
Wow.
We don't know how to apply. So for me, it's about application.
Okay.
How do I get you to walk through this? So it's really about understanding your big vision, dealing with the value conflict, and getting the resolution to receive. Is the whole thing that it comes down to.
Right.
And that's what I deal with people on. It's the little things. What can you do right now? What can you do today? It's about a shift in goal setting. It's about a shift in those types of things that changes your perspective just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to it, now you have a better perspective.
Wow.
Alexander Lloyd was the name of the book.
I done gave you 15 minutes.
No. I can see the book. It's blue. It's beyond. Oh, there we go. Beyond willpower. There we go.
Beyond willpower.
Alexander Lloyd. Beyond willpower. Because I know it has something to do with that. But beyond willpower, what he talks about is the conscious and subconscious mind, and the willpower is controlled by the conscious mind.
Okay.
And so he talks about the value and the importance of really dealing with the subconscious mind, reprogramming that.
Wow.
But beyond willpower. By Alexander Lloyd. So that's my. Thank you, Jesus. So
that's it. See, you know it's gonna come in. He's gonna come through.
Yep. No doubt.
What's the next step for Grayson Marshall?
I think the next step for me is to really take my speaking to the level of iconic. I want to be on stages and impact the masses when it comes down to it. I think I have a unique approach. Just had a lady hit me up before I came downstairs, and she heard me speak last Saturday, and she hit me up, and I was kind of weird because on Facebook, if I don't have like a couple friends in common with you, I'm just not going. But someone told me to look at this, and I said to her, "Did I meet you?" She goes, "Yeah, you just spoke last Saturday, and I'm still trying to figure it out." And so she said to me, she said, "I looked you up," and she says, "What you do is really, really amazing." She says, "Your message was different, but good different."
Mm-hmm.
And what I said to her was, "That's what I really want. I don't want to sound like anybody else. I want to be a challenging, inspirational speaker. That when you get up, you're not challenging me, you're challenging yourself.
That's good.
You're gonna drive home and say, man, I gotta do better on myself." And not from a motivational standpoint. Motivation is a conceptual thing that sells. I want to be impactful. John 14:12, Jesus said, "There's greater works than these shall you do, because I gotta be with my Father." And I think for me, that's the way I want to do my business. How can I get you to be better than me? How can I get you to do more than me? True mentees do more than mentors. If you look at biblical, Elisha did twice as many miracles as Elijah did. You have to look at those things when it comes down to it. If you're a true leader, then everybody below you should be, or have the capacity to, or the knowledge or wherewithal to do twice as much as you do. Your kids should be able to do way more than you did. Why? Because they have your expertise, your knowledge, the things you've been through.
That's good.
They should be able to do more. That's the way. That's a righteous man leaving inheritance for his children. So it's not just in stuff. It's in intellect. It's in knowledge. It's in wherewithal. It's in how to. I think that's the biggest thing. But it's a battle, it's a challenge, because you got to battle with the social media. You have to battle with what they hear on a consistent basis that drowns out your message, which is why it's important. You got to live that thing. And whether they see it now or not, you have to have the faith that they're going to see it. And I think we as parents want to see our kids get it. And you can't worry about if they get it. They're going to. That's where your faith has to be.
That's good.
And you can't worry about seeing it. All you can do is sow.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I know I'm put you on the spot. If you had to sum up this interview and had to give some words to the people listening, what you want to say?
That what you think you know, you don't. And you need to know more than what you currently know.
When it's all said and done, you get ready to go home to be with your father, what do you want to say on your tombstone?
He modeled what other people wouldn't, so that other people can have what he did.
That's good. That's good. Tell the people real quick how they can get in contact with you.
Grayson Marshall Jr. Go to my website, GraysonMarshallJr.com, GraysonMarshallJR.com. Call my office, 904-201-4422. Or you can email me at GraysonMarshallJr.com. And you can follow me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram as Grayson Marshall Jr. and also The Answer After Sports. I think I got a Twitter out there too.
I'll make sure I have the links up there as well.
That's what's up. But the easiest way, the best way to get me is Facebook or call my office.
I love it. Man, I appreciate you.
It's all good.
You have no idea. I love you, brother. Appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy. I know you catch a flight tomorrow.
Yeah.
Going out. And I appreciate you taking the time and hanging out with me.
I love this, man. I want to see you, and I told you before that this is something you love to do. Keep passionate about it. Keep doing it. And the Bible says this is not small beginnings. Just keep doing your stuff, and it will in its time be everything you want it to be. It may not be the way you want it to be, but it'll be everything you want it to be. So look at what you want it to be, not how you want it to be.
That's good. I receive it. Until next time, don't talk about it. Be about it.